Venkat. Yeah, fine. So today we are going to discuss the concept like forwarding the request. Let me show diagrammatical representation here. So this is container and these are servlets. So imagine all these are servlets running in the container that is in server. So for example, you take this scenario like logging into the logging in the account, some accounts like Gmail account or some banking related accounts like that. So imagine this is a request sent by the user here. So that request accepts by container initially and then finds the suitable servlet to process the request and then forwards the request to the related servlet. So that means a related servlet means which servlet is suitable to process the request. Okay, exactly to the servlet request forwards. Okay, and here you see, imagine one servlet verifies. Imagine one servlet verifies the username and password sent by the user. So here I'm showing servlet 1. So imagine this is servlet 1. So what I highlighted here, right? Yes, this is servlet 1. Okay, this is servlet 1. So which accepts the request, but username and password and verifies. Okay, whether given username and password is true or not. So if ever it is true, then internally that servlet forwards the request to one more servlet. Imagine this is servlet 2. This is servlet 2. Understood all of you right now? Okay, why servlet 1 forwarded the request to second servlet here? Yes, because the second servlet generates the home page for the user and generates the home page and returns to the user here. Understood all of you right now? Here the first servlet is not going to do all the tasks at a time. Okay, so each servlet performing different types of. Understood? So did you catch point here all of you? Yeah, Venkat and
Yeah, Chandra, can you
Sai.
once again repeat that? It's like,
See,
uh,
yeah, initially servlet 1, you see I shown servlet 1, right?
yeah,
So servlet 1 accepted the request. Initially servlet 1 accepted the request. Request is the username and the password, right?
yeah,
And verifies whether given username and password existed in the database or not.
yes,
If ever those means here username and password presented in the database, then simply it forwards the request to second servlet. So what second servlet is doing here? Yes, simply generates the home page and returns to the user as a response. That means here one servlet is not processing all type of requests. Okay, so here each servlet performs different types of tasks. So example, here first servlet processed user like a checking of a username and password, and second servlet generated home page for the user, right? Like that, servlets are performing different types of tasks for the user. If single servlet doing all operations, then we will get performance issues, right? Understood? Is it clear right now, all of you? Yeah, Sai and Venkat, is it clear what I told you here?
Yes, yes.
So, yes, let me show the example related to that. Now here you see, imagine, yes, yes, now here is. So, come for this HTML. Okay, so here, this is a HTML file used by any user or uses by any user to submit username and password. Okay, so like to enter username and password, two fields specified here like username and password. Okay, so when the username and password submitted by the user, yes, now that username and password sends to the servlet. That means initially to the container and from container to servlet, like that. We know very well about that flow. That's navigation we know very well. So whenever this username and password sent by the user, any user, then the data forwards to the container initially in the form of key and value pairs. Yes. What is key and what is value here? Can you tell me right now? What is key and what is value?
Key is username. Value is what we give.
Yes.
Password.
Like what is the name we given for the text field as a name, and what is the value we given in the text field as a value, right? So like that, forwards the data in the form of key and value base to the container, and then container stores the data in the request object, right? So for which servlet the data is forwarded here? Include servlet. That means here. Now in this include servlet, data is collecting from request object with a method called get parameter method. Okay. Here you see get parameter method. So for get parameter method, when key is given, then it returns the associated value. So what is the value associated for that key? Okay, that value returns by get parameter method. That's we know very well. And that value stores this variable called username. And in the same way, password also. Okay, understood. So, so after data returned, here data means nothing but username and password. Then some verifications are going on here. So what are those verifications? Whether given username is admin or not, and password is also admin or not. That means if both the given username and password as admin and admin, then you see the request is forwarded to one more HTML file which is called success.html. That means here request forwards to either HTML files or servlets. Depends upon the application requirement, right? So understood my point here, all of you? Okay. So for example, if the given username and password, like if the given username is not admin and admin, so any one of the data mixed here, then you see it includes. That means includes means here request is not forwarding to another one. So that means from which page user given username and password, exactly that page only shows for the user. Okay, let me show the output so that you will get awareness. You see, let me type the username and password as admin and admin. Just wait, let me check what is the problem getting here. So here let me start Eclipse. Let me start the server first. Now here you see server is starting here. Then let me execute this. So let me type username and password as admin and admin. And if we submitted, you see what is the message we got here? Login success. So for example, let me type the username as admin1 and the password also admin1. And if we submitted these details, you see the same page. Same page means from which page we sent the username and password showing here, right? That is forward and include. Understood all of you right now? Yeah. Sai and Venkat.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. So, like just you see how on for which servlet or for which HTML file request is forwarded by the container. A request forwarded by the container. Yes. That means here you see we used a method called request dispatcher. Okay, here dispatcher is nothing but request dispatcher. Already we declared at the top of the program you see. Okay, now we included some file name in the request dispatcher object with a method called get request dispatcher. So what is the file name we given here in request dispatcher object exactly for that file or servlet or HTML that request forwards by the container. Okay, so like when the process is going, when the request is going to process, here container generates one more object which is called request dispatcher object. That means most of the objects generated by servlet container itself, like servlet config, servlet request, servlet response, okay, and right now request dispatcher, right? So understood all of you right now? Sai and Venkat, is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. And what about Sai? Yeah, fine. And let me show one more concept. Now, comfort, you think about the protocols. So, like you see, when any user sent a request for the server, okay, it is reaching to the container first. Yes, how the request reaching to the container? That means, is there any media here? Request means nothing but some data, right? So, what is the data sent by any user? It reaches to server. Okay, some of the resources present in a server like containers. Understood? Yes. Here my query is how that data is forwarding or how that data forwards to the container which is presented in the server. That is my query. Can you tell me right now? Any one of you? Sai and Venkat? Yes, Sai.
No, Chandra.
So that is with the help of protocol, right? Okay.
So,
So protocols working like
which
an
protocol?
interface. Okay. So with the help of protocols only, data forwarding to server level. But right now we are having different types of protocols, right? Yes. What are those? Let me show them. Okay, stateful protocols and stateless protocols, right? So we're having two different types of protocols basically, known as stateful and stateless. Okay, so what is meant by stateful protocol and what is meant by stateless? Yes. Here example for stateful protocol is nothing but TCP. And example for stateless protocol is nothing but HTTP, like this you see. Okay. So why we are calling TCP IP as a stateful protocol and HTTP as stateless protocol? Okay. Yes. See for example, if this user send a request to the container or server, okay, with the help of some TCP IP. Okay. Then once request forwarded to the container, then protocol should remember this user related details. Some user related details means yes, from which user the request came to the server and which response needs to return for this user, like that. So here these details should maintain by the protocol itself till this user interacting with the server. That's why this is known as stateful protocol, right? Understood my dear, all of you? Understood? So if any queries, please tell me right now. Yes. Just 1 minute, please.
Yeah, Chandra? Hello.
Yeah, tell me please.
Hi. I was just checking if you have been stuck or something.
Sorry?
I was just checking whether you are got stuck or.
No, 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 not correct. Just let me take 1 minute, please.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that is about stateful protocol, right? Example for stateful protocol is nothing but TCP/IP, and stateless is nothing but yes. Which protocol does not maintain any information about user, which is called stateless protocol. So example for stateless protocol is nothing but HTTP, right? So right now frequently we are using. If protocol is not maintaining any data about user, then server itself means yes, here servlet itself needs to maintain the complete data about the user, right? But how it is, yes, we will discuss right now. Like you see, one more point also I'm discussing here. When the user sent a request with the HTTP protocol, then initially servlet container accepts that request and then forwards that request to the HTTP servlet. That means depends upon the protocol. That means if this user sent a request with HTTP protocol, then container forwards that request to HTTP servlet, not generic servlet, right? Understood here? Okay, HTTP. Is it clear right now what I told you here? So for example, you see, if we send a request with the TCP/IP, then what container done here forwards the request to generic servlet. If user send the request with HTTP protocol, then forwards the request to HTTP servlet. Then let me show the example for that. HTTP servlet, right? Now here you see, this is nothing but HTTP protocol, sorry, HTTP servlet. So let me discuss one more important point here. Now here you see, so when this user, imagine this is this user sent a request with HTTP protocol, like this. Okay, like this you see. Okay, if this user sent a request with HTTP protocol to the server, then container verifies with which protocol user sent a request. Okay, then forwards the request to the method which is presented in the HTTP servlet, which is called either do get or do. That means here you see methods are changing. Okay, and before forwarding the request for the HTTP servlet, it generates two different objects by the container itself. What are those? HTTP servlet request and then HTTP servlet response. Okay, let me type them. Like this, you see HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response objects generates by the container itself and forwards these two objects to either doGet or doPost methods presented in the servlet. Understood? Sai and Venkat. But just you see what is the difference between generic and HTTP servlet? What is the main difference? Can you tell me right now? Yes, Sai and Venkat. What is the main difference?
I think we don't have init and service methods.
Yes, that's okay. So that means method changes here. And then
It doesn't store any data.
that's okay. And the next one, objects are changed. You see, for generic servlet, which objects generated by container, servlet
Um,
request object and servlet response object, right?
yeah,
But in case of HTTP servlet,
yeah, init HTTP.
which objects are created? HTTP servlet request object and HTTP servlet response objects are generated, right? Understood? Yeah, fine. Now, and one more method is also there which is called dopost also. Yes. So in what time servlet container forwards the request to doGet method and in which time the request forwards to dopost method. That's very important. This is interview question also. See, for example, if user send some limited data like 1024 characters length, then container forwards that request to doGet, otherwise dopost. Okay, that is the main difference between doGet and dopost. Here, this is a very important question. Understood?
If the data is too high, then we'll use dopost.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any queries from here?
Nothing more.
Yeah. So this is one of the question, right? Fine. Now let me show the execution here. Now you see, we got a response from the generic, HTTP servlet as message from HTTP servlet, right? That is the main concept of HTTP servlet here. Okay, understood. you see this is a post method, right? Yes. So the previous one we forwarded or request forwarded with get method, right? And here post method. So let me show the execution here. Yes. Now here you see this is the HTML file we created to send request for a servlet which is called post servlet using. So what we given here? Post servlet. So this is. So which method included here to process the request? Do post. So like in HTML file, we must specify the method also. That means through which method request needs to forward or process. Okay. But in case of get, we need not specify anything. So why? Because by default it will take get method, right? Understood? Yeah, fine. Now here you see. Let me execute this. Run on server. Now when we click on the submit button, you see message generated from post method, right? Like this you see. This is the thing, right? Understood?
Yeah. Yeah, Chandra, why in the HTML it's like we are using the metadata is still there. So can we remove that metadata line?
Yeah, yeah, we can repeat. Not
Okay.
problem it is.
Yeah.
So we will not get any issue. Okay.
The
Even
heading
though
and
metadata
title.
tag is not there, we will not get any issues. Let me remove that.
Okay. Like, is there any? I just wanted to know, is there any reason if we
No, no,
want
no,
to have
nothing.
it or not?
Nothing is there.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Let me re-execute the program. You see,
Okay.
run on server. You see that, right? The same response generated, right? Even though that a tag removed from HTML file, the same response generated here, right? But when we need to execute post method, we must specify the attribute called method is equals to post. Okay, clear?
Yes, Chandra.
Okay, fine. And yeah, Venkat, any
Yes,
queries?
Chandra. No,
Yeah,
no.
fine. Yeah, fine, fine. So, like in the generic servlet, request processed with service method, right? But whereas here, request processing takes place with either do get or do post methods, right? Fine. And another point also we discussed already, like in case of stateless protocol. Okay, here servlet needs to maintain complete data about the user, right? But how it is? Yes, that's why it uses different techniques. Okay, so what are the techniques it uses here? So let me type. First one is URL rewriting, and the second one is hidden form fields, and third one is cookies, and the next one is sessions UC. Okay, so like this, we are having different techniques, but actually the first above three methods are not preferring here. Sessions technique is preferable to maintain the data. So what the data we need to maintain throughout the request. Okay, so here sessions is preferable technique here, right? So let me show one by one. Initially, go for URL rewriting technique. Yes, here you see that URL rewriting. And let me show related servlets here. URL servlet 1 and URL servlet 2. Like this you see. Okay. Now let me show HTML first. Yes. Here we created a text field. Okay, and some name is given for the text field as username, right? So we have to type some data in the text field and then we have to submit it. When data submitted by any user forwards that data to this specific servlet which is called URL servlet 1. Then in this servlet that data gets from request object with the get parameter method. That's we know very well, right? Understood? Okay. So that means if we need to maintain the same data for second servlet also, then what we have to do here? Yes. You see, we added the data for the URL. Okay. So here you see for which servlet we need to forward, that servlet name is given here, and which data we need to forward, that data is also given. That is called URL rewriting, right? So the same data. So what is the data received in the servlet 1 forwards to second servlet also. That means here. Now in this servlet, that data is retrieving into a variable called n. And finally we are showing that as output. Okay, is it clear right now? Sai and Venkat?
Chandra, can you show how it is storing in uname in the servlet 1?
Yes. Initially you see. This is right from request object, the data is retrieved. That is a variable called n.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So we are using variable on
Yes.
the both of them here. Okay.
And then we forwarded that data to second servlet with
Yeah,
the URL. You see, this is URL, right?
yeah,
This complete thing comes under URL, right?
yeah.
So that data forwards to second servlet. Okay, is it clear right now?
Yes, sir. So if
Yes.
data is being forwarded in the form of URLs from one server
Sorry,
to another, is data
sorry.
being will data be forwarded in the form of URL from one servlet to another servlet?
Yes. Yes, you are right.
Always?
Yes, you are right. So that is through URL, data is forwarding from one servlet to another servlet, right?
Yeah.
That's why here we can call this as URL rewriting.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So let me execute this. You see, here we need to execute HTML file. You see that some name I'm giving here as admin. When we click on the go button, yes, initially it is forwarded to first servlet. You see, for which servlet is forwarded, showing here URL servlet 1. When we click on visit button, you see that same data forwarded to another servlet which is called URL servlet 2, right? Understood? Is it clear right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that is called URL rewrite. And the second technique is nothing but hidden form fields. That is also outdated right now. Okay, even though these techniques are outdated, just I'm showing the techniques only. Okay, we need not concentrate on all these things, right?
Yeah, okay.
Only the preferable technique is sessions, the real time. Okay, you see this hidden form fields. In this technique also, we are going to forward some data like previous example. You see that? Yes. So which data we want to forward or we need to forward for this servlet? text field is created with a name called username. Okay, and then, so what is the data we given in the text fields? Yes, it forwards that to a servlet which is called hidden servlet one. That is here. Now, that the data is getting from the request object into a variable called n. And how the same data forwarding to another servlet? Yes, with a special field you see. So what is the field we created here? Hidden. Okay, that means a field generates, but which is not visible for us. That's why we can call it as hidden form field. Okay, so that means internally a field generates which is called hidden form field, and the name is also given as uname, and value is also given using. So what is the value retrieved from the user? It is added for the hidden form field. So when we submitted that, then forwards to second servlet and gets the data from the request object and displays that as the output here. Understood all of you right now? Is it clear? So this is also not
Yeah.
preferable technique, right?
Yes, Chandra, we don't have, is it necessary that we need to write this HTML body in the first servlet?
Actually not, yeah,
Not,
actually not necessary.
yeah,
Not
okay.
necessary it
We
is.
can directly pass it, right?
Yeah,
Use that
like by
input type
default,
and,
yeah, by default the response generates in the form of HTML.
okay.
Understood?
I didn't get you.
Is it clear right now?
Chandra, I didn't get the last few words that you have said. By default,
Sorry?
you said by default?
Yeah, default means you see, even though we are not written any HTML tag or body tag, okay, so by default it generates by the container,
Okay.
right?
Okay,
So that's why that means the response type is of HTML only.
okay, okay.
So it may be either HTML, like it may be either in text format or HTML format. Okay, that is the thing here. So anyways, so this is about URL reading and hidden formats. So tomorrow we will finish servlets. Okay,
Okay, Chandra.
yeah, fine. And you just you work on the examples what we discussed today. Okay,
That's
I will
all.
send examples for you, and you
Okay,
work on the examples. If any queries, tomorrow we'll discuss. Okay,
okay, Chandra.
Okay.
and tomorrow I will give you the task also because of the weekend, right?
Yeah. Chandra, did you review my past code that I've sent? I think there are a lot of
Yeah,
mistakes
yeah.
there. Like, if
Yes, yes,
possible,
yes.
could you
Right.
explain whenever?
Definitely. Definitely, I will help you. Shall we sit tomorrow?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Chandra.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Uh,